Welcome to the St. Benedict's Episcopal School Podcast, planting seeds, cultivating critical thinking, creativity, community, and lifelong learning. Here we'll take you on a transformative journey into the inner workings of this unique school and the people behind it. So sit up straight, school's in. And here's your host and head of school, Father Brian Sullivan.
Welcome to another episode of Planting Seeds, Cultivating Critical Thinking, Creative Community, and Lifelong Learning, where we shine a light on the remarkable individuals who make our school community thrive. I'm your host, Father Brian Sullivan, and today we have the privilege of sitting down with an educator who embodies the heart and soul of St. Benedict's, Sarah Whipple. For over a decade, Miss Whipple has been a guiding force in our classrooms, nurturing young minds and fostering a love for learning that extends far beyond the classroom walls. But her connection to St. B's goes ever deeper as a devoted parent of two boys who've walked these halls and left their own unique mark and are leaving their own unique mark. With a background that combines an education from the University of Georgia, go Dogs, where she earned her bachelor's and master's degree in middle school grades, language arts, and social studies, Ms. Whipple brings a wealth of knowledge and experience to her role as a lead teacher. From her early years teaching pre-K to her current role as a leader of the fifth grade experience, Ms. Whipple's journey is a testament to her dedication, adaptability, and unwavering commitment to each student's growth. In this episode, we'll explore the dynamic intersection of her roles as an educator, a parent, and a cherished member of St. B's community. Join us as we delve into her unique insights, memorable anecdotes, and heartwarming glimpse into the world of teaching and learning at St. Benedict's. So without further ado, let us dive into the conversation with the one and only Sarah Whipple. Welcome.
Thank you. Great to be here.
Yeah. So you have been in education for some time. What was it that made you decide this is what I want to do, besides being a bulldog?
Well, it goes back much further even than my being a bulldog. My mother was a teacher, and I decided when I was about 3 years old that I also wanted to do that. And she would often find me in my room teaching class to my dolls and stuffed animals. And then it graduated to my asking my grandmother to be my student and making textbooks for her. And that continued for a long time. And I just always wanted to do it and got more and more excited about it as I went through school and took education classes and started student teaching and continue to love it to this day.
Well, I know we are all very glad that that's still the case. You've been here for some time. So what was that journey like here at St. Benedict's for you?
Well, I taught for 11 years and then took a break to have my boys. And my oldest son started at St. Benedict's when he was 2 years old. And I was still, a stay-at-home mom and missing teaching a little, but really enjoying that time with them at home. And so I had the privilege of being a room parent and serving in various capacities, getting involved with his education at St. Benedict's. And one day I was like, you know what? Maybe they have an opening and I could teach at St. Benedict's and be with my boys. And it just went from there. I started with preschool and I loved the shorter day so that I could still be available for my boys after their school day ended. But I also loved the fact, I think pre-K is one of the most important years of a child's education because it kind of forms their whole outlook on school, going to school, learning, and interacting with others. And I just loved being a part of that. I did that for 3 years. And then I decided I really missed fifth grade, which I had done for 10 years at the children's school in Midtown prior to finding St. Benedict's. And there was an opening, so I went for it. And here I am. And I just love it. This is a fantastic place to work and also a fantastic place to be a parent of students who attend here. I just love it.
And so 14 years total as a fifth grade teacher?
Yes.
Wow. And I think when I was transitioning from my parish ministry to the school ministry as head of school, I had no idea that you had aspirations or even taught fifth grade. Was that transition good for you? Was that ready to take on fifth grade? I think we needed someone and hopefully invited you to consider it.
Yes, I loved it. It was so interesting coming from preschool to fifth grade. Because even though I knew, I was an experienced fifth grade teacher, I had been doing preschool for a few years, and it was a big difference, obviously, but it was really fun. And the year that I came back to teaching fifth grade was our first year after lockdown, when we were doing COVID protocols and everything. So I was really good at that because I'm very used to everyone staying clean and all of the things you have to do as a preschool teacher. This year is really cool, though, because this is my first year teaching fifth grade at St. Benedicts, where some of the students I taught in pre-K will be in my class.
I was wondering about that. So this is the first year. That's cool.
Yes, it's very cool. And I got to see some of them on Friday when we had our open house, and it's just amazing. I mean, not just how much they've grown physically, but I can't wait to see just how capable they are and how much they've learned, and to teach them in this capacity.
See if they're still using the same handwriting tools that you gave them.
It better be.
This might be a unique year, but I think last year was pretty unique because you had your son in your class. What was that like?
That was definitely unique, to use your word. It was uncharted territory for me because even though I've taught forever and been a St. B's parent forever, we never intersected quite in that way until last year when my youngest son was in my math class. He was not in my homeroom, so he would just come to me for one period per day. But it was great. I mean, we had just talked before the school started about how I'm not mom when you're in math class. I'm Miss Whipple, and I have to treat you like everyone else. And, you still have to do your homework and study for your tests. I'm not your private tutor at home. But we ended up having a lot of fun. It was great. And I knew so many of those kids just from them growing up with my son. So it was just a really fun atmosphere. It went well.
Good. Well, I know he's probably glad to have that experience, maybe less now and more in the future when he looks back on it and he sees how, to use the word, unique that is. So you also have another son here. So 2 boys. How has that been woven into your teaching style or influenced how you teach, having boys specifically, but having them here at St. Benedict's?
Yeah, I've been a St. B's parent for 13 years consecutively.
Wow.
Yeah, that's been a lot of fun. And it's interesting. Having 2 boys, I think it's given me a lot of patience in my teaching and a lot of understanding of how boys learn. I mean, obviously, I'm a girl, so I already knew a lot about what that's like. So I just, it's been really fun. It does help me, though, because I feel like my classroom management has improved because of that. I feel like I'm much better at communicating with parents now that I have children of my own and can understand what it's like to be a parent and not just an educator who has plans of how I want to get things done. But I'm able to adjust things according to, individual learning styles and personalities and challenges. And I think that's so important. And I think that having my boys, it's cool because I teach 5th grade math, but I know exactly what is expected of them in 6th, 7th, and 8th grade math at St. B's because my son went through those years. So that helps me know exactly what's going to be expected of them and exactly how to cover it. So that's been cool too.
All right. So you mentioned having taught boys. How, with the education that you got, did they go into a lot of that when you got your master's? Or obviously you don't learn how to teach your own child in class, which I thought you did brilliantly last year. It helps to have good parents who raised them. They're good kids. How does that affect your curriculum here at St. Benedict's? I think our administration does a pretty good job of balancing and letting you do your own pacing, but not interfering. So you create your own curriculum. You get a lot of autonomy. How has your educational background helped with that?
I did a lot of learning, especially during my master's, about the different types of learning styles. And I was really intrigued by that because I loved the idea that, if you have a class of 18 kids, that's going to be 18 different combinations of learning styles. And I think it's really important to be able to honor that, as much as is realistic. That helped me a lot in preparation. Now since things have changed a lot, even, since I started teaching math, I started teaching math in 1998. And even the algorithms have changed since then. I have parents who will come to me and say, I can't help them with their math homework. It's totally changed from the way I learned. I'm like, I know, isn't it great? Because, I think as educators, we like to plan things. So, we have our lesson plans, we have our objectives, we have our essential questions, what we want to cover. But my lessons rarely end up exactly as I planned them, because I like there to be that fluidity and that flexibility to change it according to the group of kids I'm working with and what they need. And I love it because I teach the same math lesson 3 times each day, but it's very different each time because, I'm able to adjust it as I go and see what works and what didn't work. And I love the flexibility that you all give us and the autonomy that you all allow, because it lets us, I think, be our best selves as educators.
You had a son who is finished here at St. Benedict's and moved on. What is he, in his 3rd week now of high school? How has that transition been for him? And then as a parent, how do you think St. Benedict's prepared him for that?
The transition has been fantastic. And I have to admit, I was a little nervous. He never seemed nervous, but I was, just because he was here for 12 years. He started at St. Benedict's when he was 2 years old. So, he's at a private school with his mom, never been the new kid. It's a smaller school, and now he's at a public high school with 2,300 kids, and he's definitely the new kid. His mom's not there. There's so many differences, but it's been great. I mean, what a smooth transition. I was pleasantly surprised, and he's enjoying himself. He feels prepared, and not just academically, but socially and emotionally, and, all the other aspects that I think St. B's does such a good job of nurturing. And it's been wonderful. So far, so good.
That's awesome. I know that is a big transition. Having my son also make a big transition to what do we have, about less than 30 kids in our graduating class to go into 2,300. That's a big change. At the same time, I've also heard students say it's nice knowing that you have to see the same people every day here at St. Benedict's. So you have to learn how to get along with all kinds of people. And the diversity here is a big part of that. As a teacher, as you look at students coming up now from preschool that you've taught and seeing them, like Bert, heading off to high school, what are some of the most rewarding moments that you've seen in that progression for your students as a teacher?
I love watching them develop a love of learning, and it doesn't have to be a love of learning every subject. They have their little areas that are interesting to them and that they just take to another level. And just when you can help in some way to just get that spark going, it's just amazing watching what they can do. These kids are so smart, all in different ways, and so kind, and just so ready to go out into the community and share their gifts.
And you've grown up in Atlanta, having gone to Westminster, a very well-known private school here in Atlanta. How do you think that experience as a student in a private school and now as a teacher and as a parent has helped you prepare our kids for the future?
I think the biggest thing is that it helped me realize the importance of diversity and celebrating differences, recognizing and celebrating differences, not trying to pretend that everyone's the same, but really delving into what makes us different and celebrating that, owning it, and, just sharing it with others.
That's great. Yeah. I find it interesting that a lot of our parents are first generation independent school, private school parents. Do you think that's helped you also, having been in a private school, grown up in a private school, to help acclimate them to some of the expectations that are a little bit different? They have a lot more say in what happens at the school than a big, large public school. At the same time, to your point, we choose what kids come on campus, and we maintained a really good diversity here at St. Benedict's. How do you think that's helped you relate to the parents who are just now coming into their first independent school experience?
I feel like it's a partnership, and we have so many wonderful families. And I love establishing that partnership. It's like a family almost. I know so many of these parents from either teaching their other kids or teaching the kids I have now in preschool, or from my sons, being friends with them. And it's nice that we've got these relationships established already. And in addition to the family aspect, I almost in an independent school look at a parent in a way as like a paying customer. Like I want to make sure I hear, what their vision is, what their needs are for their child, and that, it's truly a partnership.
Great. And we're recording this right at the beginning of the school year. So as you look forward, I know we all have, this is going to be the best year ever in the back of our minds. Yeah. What kind of things are you thinking about doing this year, whether it's different kind of teaching approaches or projects or goals that you want to share with the St. Bees community?
Well, every year, my goal is to make fifth graders feel better about math. A lot of them come to me already loving math and already naturally being really good at math, thinking well mathematically, but some of them don't. And fifth grade was about when I started to lose my confidence in my math ability because it started to not come as easily to me. And that's part of the reason I teach math, is to not let that happen. The same way I look at pre-K as a really important year for a child's education because it kind of shapes their whole outlook. I look at fifth grade as a really important year because it shapes their whole outlook on middle school. And these years are so important because they're difficult years. That's what puberty and all the different things that make middle school just so intense. And so I want to make sure that, they have a positive experience and that they enjoy math and get that important foundation. That's something I want to do every year. This year in particular, I'm excited to incorporate even more STEAM projects. The STEAM, naturally, math is a huge part of STEAM, so it's easy to do, but I want to do even more projects. They love the hands-on creative aspect of all the great STEAM stuff that we do here at St. Bees. So I'm looking forward to that. And also, just having a new group of kids to get to know and kind of craft the way I teach based on their personalities and their learning styles.
I don't know about you, but there's a spark and excitement this year. And I don't know if it's just because we're, 2 years, 3 years removed from having to teach online, having to worry about getting sick. Still have to worry about that, but not in the same ways. A little more known now. It just feels lighter, and it feels like an exciting year. Is there anything else that you wish our listeners knew about St. Bees, about fifth grade?
I just can't say enough good things about it as a parent, as a teacher, but I do feel that excitement that you're talking about. And I think that, I've worked at several different schools, and I think that the spirit among the faculty, staff, administration is just so collaborative and so just excited to get in there and, do what we're just all so excited to do what we're here to do. And that's nice because it's not like that at every school and with every educator. So it's just really nice to have that. And then when the students come in and with their energy and their excitement, it's just dynamic.
Yep. It's why we do what we do, isn't it?
Totally.
Well, as we wrap up this enlightening conversation with Sarah Whipple, it's evident that her role as a dedicated educator and devoted parent has greatly enriched the St. Benedicts community. From her extensive experience teaching various grade levels to her unique insights as both a teacher and a mother, Ms. Whipple's story is a testament to the transformative power of education. Her passion for learning, unwavering commitment, and vibrant presence truly embody the spirit of St. Bees. As we conclude, let's carry the wisdom and inspiration we've gained from Ms. Whipple, continuing to nurture growth and community within our cherished school. Until next time, keep spreading kindness, compassion, and love.
Thanks for listening to Planting Seeds, Cultivating Critical Thinking, Creativity, Community, and Lifelong Learning with your host, Father Brian Sullivan. To find out more about St. Benedict's Episcopal School, visit stbs.org.